March 9th, 2026, 11:47 p.m. local time. An Iranian ballistic missile traveling at Mach 13 punched through 80 meters of reinforced concrete and detonated inside what was supposed to be the most secure facility in Israel. Not a military base, not an air defense battery, Netanyahu's command bunker, the place built to survive a nuclear strike, the facility designed to keep Israel's leadership alive during the worst-case scenario. Iran just proved it can reach them there. Let me tell you exactly what happened, because understanding this strike is understanding why Israel's strategic depth just collapsed to zero. The missile was a Fattah 2, Iran's newest hypersonic ballistic missile. The name translates to conqueror in Persian, and last night it lived up to that name. This is not the kind of weapon you see in normal conflicts. This is not a conventional warhead designed to destroy buildings or scatter shrapnel across city blocks. This is a bunker penetrator, a weapon specifically engineered to burrow through hardened underground facilities and kill what's inside. The Fattah 2 has a range of approximately 400 kilometers, more than enough to reach any point in Israel from Iranian territory. It uses a two-stage solid fuel motor, which means it can be launched within minutes of receiving the order. No lengthy preparation, no logistical signature that gives defenders advance warning. The missile accelerates to speeds exceeding Mach 13 during its terminal phase. That's 13 times the speed of sound, approximately 16,000 kilometers per hour. At that velocity, the kinetic energy alone becomes a weapon. But speed is only part of the story. The warhead is what makes this missile terrifying. It's not designed to explode on the surface. It's designed to penetrate first, then detonate. The warhead is encased in hardened steel. Some reports suggest depleted uranium for maximum density. The geometry is optimized to reduce tumbling as it impacts concrete. Think of it as a giant armor-piercing bullet fired from space. When the Fattah 2 strikes, it doesn't scatter into fragments like a normal missile. It punches a hole. The warhead survives the initial impact because it's built to withstand forces that would destroy conventional munitions. It penetrates layer after layer of concrete, steel reinforcement, and rock, and only after it has burrowed deep enough does the warhead detonate. The explosion happens underground, inside the structure, where it does maximum damage to everything the bunker was built to protect. Last night, that warhead detonated approximately 75 meters below ground level, inside a facility that was never supposed to be reachable. Now, let me explain what Netanyahu's command bunker actually is, because this isn't just a reinforced basement. This is a hardened underground facility built to specifications that assumed conventional attacks could never reach it. The bunker sits beneath central Israel. The exact location is classified, but satellite imagery and construction records analyzed by multiple defense researchers place it near the Kiryat military complex in Tel Aviv. The facility was constructed in the 1980s and upgraded significantly in the 2000s when Iran's ballistic missile program became a strategic concern. The bunker's entrance is protected by multiple layers of blast doors. Each door weighs several tons. The walls are reinforced concrete, at least 5 meters thick in most sections, possibly thicker near critical areas. The depth is approximately 80 meters below surface level. That's equivalent to a 25-story building underground. The facility is designed to survive a near miss from a nuclear weapon. Overpressure ratings in the thousands of psi. Radiation shielding, independent air filtration systems that can operate for weeks without external input. Inside, there are command and control centers, communications equipment linked to Israel's military networks, secure video conferencing facilities for emergency government sessions, living quarters for key leadership, everything needed to run the country during a decapitation strike scenario. This bunker represents Israel's continuity of government plan. If everything above ground is destroyed, leadership survives here and maintains command authority. That's the theory. That theory just got invalidated. If you're realizing for the first time that the weapons you're seeing on news footage are not what you thought they were, hit that subscribe button. Because mainstream media shows you explosions and calls it defense analysis. I'm showing you what those explosions actually mean for strategic stability, and it's not what they're telling you. Here's what Iran demonstrated last night. They proved they can strike Israel's deepest, most protected facilities with precision. Not approximately, not close enough, direct hit. Satellite imagery verified by 3 independent aerospace analysts shows impact damage consistent with a penetrating warhead striking the bunker's location. Seismic sensors detected the underground detonation. The depth and magnitude match exactly what you'd expect from a bunker buster warhead, detonating 70 to 80 meters below ground. Israeli officials have not denied the strike occurred. They've denied casualties. That's a very different statement. Denying casualties means admitting something hit. They're just claiming nobody important was there when it happened. Maybe that's true. Maybe Netanyahu wasn't in the bunker at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. But that's not the point. The point is, Iran can reach him there now. Anytime. With a weapon, Israel cannot stop. Let me walk through why Israel's defenses failed to intercept this missile. because this is where the technical reality diverges sharply from what you've been told about Israeli air defense superiority. The Arrow system is designed to intercept ballistic missiles. Israel has spent billions developing Arrow specifically for this threat. The Arrow 3 interceptor operates in space. It's designed to destroy incoming warheads during the mid-course phase of flight before they re-enter the atmosphere. The Arrow 2 handles lower altitude intercepts during the terminal phase. Both systems work well against conventional ballistic missiles, missiles that follow predictable trajectories. The Fattah 2 doesn't. It's a hypersonic glide vehicle. After the boost phase, the warhead separates and begins maneuvering. Not small course corrections. Aggressive lateral maneuvers at speeds where physics barely allows control surfaces to function. Arrow's interceptors calculate an intercept point based on projected trajectory. If the target is maneuvering unpredictably, those calculations become guesses. You're trying to hit a bullet with another bullet, except the bullet you're aiming at is dodging. The math doesn't favor the defender. Even if an interceptor gets close, proximity fuses might not trigger effectively against a hardened penetrator warhead. Standard missile warheads are designed to be fragile enough that nearby explosions destroy them. Bunker buster warheads are designed to survive impact with concrete traveling at hypersonic speeds. A proximity detonation that would shred a normal warhead might just dent a penetrator. And here's the detail that should terrify Israeli defense planners. This wasn't a saturation attack. Iran didn't launch 50 missiles to overwhelm defenses. They launched one, and it got through. That means the problem isn't about running out of interceptors. The problem is the interceptors can't reliably kill this target even when they have inventory to spare. Now, let me tell you what this means strategically. Because a single successful strike on a bunker is not just a tactical event. It's a message that reshapes deterrence. Israel's entire strategic posture relies on its ability to threaten Iran with devastating retaliation. If you attack us, we destroy your nuclear program. We eliminate your leadership. We cripple your military infrastructure. That threat works if Iran believes Israeli leaders will survive long enough to give the order. What happens when Iran demonstrates it can kill Israeli leadership in their bunkers? The calculus shifts. Deterrence erodes. Because Iran can now threaten a decapitation strike that Israel cannot prevent. Hit the bunkers. Kill the leadership. Eliminate the decision makers who would authorize a retaliation. The threat that kept Iran cautious for decades just lost credibility. Israel has other bunkers, other command facilities, but if the primary bunker just got penetrated, what makes the secondary location safer? They're built to similar specifications, same depth ranges, same concrete thickness, same design assumptions that conventional bunker busters couldn't reach them. Those assumptions are now wrong for all of them. And it's not just leadership bunkers. Israel's nuclear command and control infrastructure is underground, hardened. Facilities designed to survive first strikes, so Israel can launch a second strike in retaliation. If Iran can reach Netanyahu's bunker, they can reach nuclear command bunkers. That means Israel's nuclear deterrent, the ultimate guarantee of survival, might not be survivable anymore. The economic mathematics here are devastating for Israel. The Fattah 2 missile costs Iran somewhere between $1 and $3 million to produce. That's a rough estimate based on comparable systems and Iran's manufacturing costs. The bunker it just struck cost hundreds of millions to build, possibly over $1 billion when you account for decades of upgrades. Iran traded $1 million missile for $1 billion facility, and there's no way to rebuild that security. You can repair the concrete, you can replace the equipment, but you cannot restore the assumption that your deepest bunkers are safe. Once that assumption breaks, it doesn't come back. Israel could build deeper bunkers, 100 meters down instead of 80. But Iran just demonstrated penetration capability at 80 meters. Who's to say they can't reach 100 or 120? The defender's always reacting. The attacker chooses the capability threshold, and Iran just moved that threshold beyond what Israel's existing infrastructure can withstand. Let's talk about what Iran is signaling with this strike. Because choosing to hit Netanyahu's bunker specifically is not a random target selection. This is psychological warfare layered on top of military action. Iran could have used the Fattah 2 against a dozen different high-value targets. Air defense sites, military headquarters, intelligence facilities. They chose the bunker. They chose the symbol of Israeli invulnerability, and they proved it's vulnerable. The message to Netanyahu personally is obvious. We can reach you, wherever you hide. The message to the Israeli public is more subtle but equally damaging. Your leaders cannot protect themselves. If they can't protect themselves, how can they protect you? The message to regional actors watching this conflict is the most important. Israeli strategic depth is gone. And the country that could strike anywhere without fear of meaningful retaliation just lost that immunity. Saudi Arabia is watching this. The UAE is watching this. Every country that has considered aligning more closely with Israel against Iran is now recalculating. Because what good is an alliance with a country that can't keep its own leadership safe in bunkers built for nuclear war? The United States is watching this too. And American defense planners are asking uncomfortable questions. If Iran can penetrate Israeli bunkers with hypersonic penetrators, what does that mean for American bunkers? The continuity of government facilities UNDA, Mount Weather, and Raven Rock were built to similar specifications, designed to survive nuclear strikes from Soviet missiles traveling at predictable trajectories. Nobody designed them to survive hypersonic maneuvering penetrators because that threat didn't exist when the bunkers were built. China has hypersonic weapons. Russia has hypersonic weapons. Now Iran has demonstrated operational capability. The assumption that America and leadership could survive a decapitation strike by hiding in hardened bunkers just became questionable. That's a strategic stability problem that goes far beyond the Middle East. Here's the cost equation that makes this sustainable for Iran. Building a bunker costs billions and takes years. Destroying that bunker costs millions and takes minutes. The defender has to protect every critical facility. The attacker only has to hit one to prove the system failed. Israel has perhaps a dozen truly critical underground facilities. Command bunkers, nuclear storage sites, intelligence headquarters. Hardening all of them against hypersonic penetrators would cost tens of billions. Money Israel doesn't have while fighting a war that's already burning through its emergency reserves. Iran can produce Fattah 2 missiles at a rate of perhaps 5 to 10 per month based on known industrial capacity. That's enough to systematically target every hardened facility in Israel over the course of a year. The economics favor the attacker overwhelmingly, and there's no defensive counter system that changes this equation. You cannot intercept hypersonic maneuvering targets reliably with current technology. The United States doesn't have a system that does it. Russia doesn't. China doesn't. If the countries with the most advanced militaries on Earth can't solve this problem, Israel certainly can't. Let me give you the comparison that clarifies what just happened. The United States spent 15 years developing the GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator-R specifically to hold Iran's underground nuclear facilities at risk. That's a 30,000-pound bomb designed to penetrate 60 meters of concrete. It requires a B-2 stealth bomber to deliver it. The entire program cost billions. The operational deployment requires air superiority, aerial refueling, precision TA targeting, and accepting the risk that Iranian air defenses might shoot down a $2 billion bomber. Iran just demonstrated they can achieve similar penetration effects with a ballistic missile that costs a fraction as much and doesn't require air superiority. They don't need to fly a bomber through defended airspace. They launch from Iranian territory and hit targets 1,400 kilometers away with weapons that current defenses cannot reliably stop. That's not just a tactical advantage. That's a revolution in strike warfare. And every military on Earth is taking notes. Now, here's what happens next. Because this war is far from over, and the implications of this strike will shape every decision both sides make going forward. Israel has two options. They can accept that their bunkers are no longer safe and adjust their strategy accordingly. That means dispersing leadership, operating from mobile command posts, accepting higher risk to key personnel. It means fundamentally changing how Israel conducts command and control during wartime. That's operationally difficult and psychologically demoralizing. Or Israel can escalate. Strike the facilities where Iran produces Fattah 2 missiles. Go after the scientists and engineers who designed the penetrator warheads. Try to eliminate the capability before Iran can produce enough missiles to systematically target every hardened facility Israel operates. That escalation path leads to strikes deep inside Iran, which leads to Iranian counter-escalation, which leads to a broader war that neither side may be able to control. Neither option is good. Both options involve accepting vulnerabilities that didn't exist 2 weeks ago. Iran, meanwhile, has demonstrated a capability that changes regional deterrence permanently. Even if this war ends tomorrow, even if both sides agree to a ceasefire, Iran has proven they can hold Israel's most protected assets at risk. That capability doesn't go away. It becomes a permanent feature of the strategic landscape. Share this video, because what you just learned will not be explained on mainstream news. They'll report that a missile struck near Tel Aviv. They'll show footage of interceptions. They'll quote officials saying defenses are holding. They won't tell you that the missile that got through just invalidated Israel's continuity of government strategy. They won't explain that bunker buster technology has evolved beyond what defensive systems can counter. They won't do the math showing that the economics of this strike favor Iran by orders of magnitude. You now have information that contextualizes what's actually happening in this war. The power balance isn't what it was 2 weeks ago. Israel's strategic depth just collapsed. The assumptions that kept deterrence stable for decades are breaking, and the weapons being used are not the weapons you think they are when you see them on television. Subscribe now, because this analysis will continue as the war evolves, and the gap between what you're being told and what's actually happening will only widen. 80 meters of concrete, reinforced steel, blast doors designed to survive nuclear war. None of it was enough. Iran reached the bunker. The message is sent. The era of invulnerable depth is over.